Shalom Israel. First foremost, I do give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Dash to born to the apostles, and that was great millstone for teaching us this truth, peace, and blessings to the hope like Israel. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father in Hebrew. Ba'Shem is the name. Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in the lesson, as you see within the title, gonna be going to these chariots, which are the so-called UFOs today, as well as going to be going to a couple of these videos where you have this devil, adding misinformation to the mix of things. So when people, see things about the chariots, this is what they think of and what they imagine is in these vehicles. Which is what we have been saying, through Spin by Yahweh Shai, especially with these files that have now been released that have been in talks. Which you had this double, Trump and all of them saying they're going to release information regarding the so-called UFOs, since people are wanting it. But we said they're not going to be bringing out the 100% truth of the matter. I mean, we're speaking of Esau, Edom here. The devil the Bible speaks of, he's not to be trusted in any case, as you get throughout the scriptures. So you think this devil's going to once again release the 100% truth in regards to the chariots, so-called UFOs, who resides within them? And we said that they're gonna, mix, misinformation to, lead people astray, to keep people questioning. As you're gonna see throughout a couple of these videos of the things that people are, pushing and actually think is, what's going on and what's within those vehicles. Because this devil wants to continue to control the narrative that he's able to take out these so-called UFOs, these chariots. He has the inhabitants that were within these vehicles. He has the crash landings and the technology from these vehicles. It's not the case. This is what they were trying to especially push back in last year, in the beginning of the year 2025, dealing with this so-called drone situation that was picking up steam. That was pretty much all over the news, where you had so-called drones pretty much everywhere. It was really dealing with those chariots, man, the so-called UFOs. As a matter of fact, there was another video that came out where you had a actual drone fly into a so-called UFO, a chariot, and come crashing down. That chariot, that so-called UFO, pretty much deflected it, or whatever it did. You had like a force field around it, whatever the case may be. And people started out to pick up that these actual drones were being used to monitor, try to observe the chariots, so-called UFOs, But got a couple of videos, it's like kind of veering off topic. Cause I was wanting to make a lesson done with this, because this is what I've been saying, especially other brothers, making lessons going into that. You're gonna have this devil mixing, a lot of misinformation, as you have been seeing with the narrative and images that has been forming for years, conditioning the people that there are green and gray aliens within these vehicles, that the chariots come from underwater, all these things. That's why I get within scripture, I was trust in the shadow of Egypt should be your shame and your confusion. So once the Lord said a prophet and watchman to warn you of the coming time, to tell you of these things. But people would rather hear it come out of this devil's mouth. But you see, when you're done with this devil, he's not going to tell you the truth of things. But I'm going to play this quick video. 3 quick views, actually. And I'll, get into a couple of these scriptures. Lord's will be edifying. But I'm going to read this quick article. It says 4 alien species have been found or have been pulled from crashed UFOs, ex-government researcher claims. So you see a humanoid Edomite, long hair. You have a dragonoid looking person. You have a gray alien. And you also have a mantis-like creature, which is something that they also have been pushing as of late, which I even mentioned in a couple of my lessons. These are the type of creatures that they are saying that are within those vehicles. You also have people pushing that there are fallen angels within these vehicles. Well, if you drop the fallen, the angels are within those vehicles, not no fallen angels, because that's another misconception. Which I made a lesson just a couple of days ago, going to what the meaning of Satan falling from heaven is going into. what this war in heaven is actually speaking of. Because these people, actually believe that the Lord, kicked out, these, angels and the spiritual demon Satan from the spiritual realm. That there's a rebellion. That there's a great war in the spiritual realm. That's not the case. It's not what it's going into. That's off with what you see being pushed.
4 different types of extraterrestrial alien species have been recovered from UFO crash sites. That's according to a man, a doctor, who worked with these government agencies. Dr. Hal Puthoff, pictured here, claims that at least 4 different types of extraterrestrial aliens have been recovered from crash sites here on the Earth by the government.
Which is just, it's not going to happen. It's not possible. You can't take out a chariot of Yahweh Ba'Shemel. Matter of fact, you see the immense power gap already. You have videos of these chariots, tampering with, literal nuclear missiles, the top of the top weapons, this devil's trump card. And these chariots are able to, tamper with it, mess with it, make it seem like it's going to go off. There's an actual, case about that. We had these officials talking about where these chariots were making it seem like these missiles were going to launch. You have these chariots going to your backyard, dealing with these bases, where the devil resides at, dealing with the military. Matter of fact, this is that one video, where you had this chariot zooming, all these, past these gunshots. Now, I believe it was like a turret that is used, to shoot down, aircrafts. But you had this chariot zooming past all of it. Nothing was hitting it. And even if it got close, it would be deflected, bounced off, whatever the case may be. You devils stand no chance. But once this devil wants to, form this narrative and continue to, form that image, that he's pretty much able to stand a chance, that he has the inhabitants, he has these creatures that were pulled from these vehicles, he has the technology from these crash land. No chariot of the Lord is going to crash land. You're talking about unfathomable, technology. If that even is a fitting word, dealing with technology. It's how far out Yahweh Ba'Shemel Shai is, man. It's how far these chariots are. And it's of the Lord. Once and angels are the ones operating those vehicles. And they're dark-skinned men. Matter of fact, there was this account, which I actually got, because I reference this a lot in a lot of my videos, was the Most High and the angels are dark-skinned men. So it's one of the, pretty much elites of Esau, Edom, on the right. Let's get this real quick.
Black skin. Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall. How tall? Do you know?
Well, we got up the doorway. I don't know how high that is,
Well, what?
but to say 7 feet would be probably considered.
And I believe it was another video where you had this one woman, I believe, was covering these chariots, and it appeared to be men within these vehicles having afro-like hair. But nah, let's push that they are greens and grays and mantis-like creatures that you kind of saw in the beginning. This is what this devil's trying to form and push, which is off. That's why we say take everything this devil says with a grain of salt, pick the meat from the bones. Which I made that point dealing with that lesson when the files were released, to pick the meat from the bones. Because you're not going to have this devil give you the 100%, information and truth of things. Especially when it regards to this truth. These chariots are a part of that. That's why this devil has been, trying to keep these things under wraps. He's pretty much now forced to speak on these things. But he's not going to, pretty much give up without a fight. You're going to show this pride this devil has. That's why he's still trying to, feed misinformation, confusion, So it's pretty much up in the air as to what they are. But well, we're telling you. But people don't want to hear what the prophets have to say. This is why this is only for the elect, man. The chosen.
He even goes into detail what these different types of extraterrestrials are like. So let me just tell you. So here are those 4 types. The insectoids, the greys, the reptilians, and the Nordics. Let's look into this a little deeper. So according to Dr. Hal Puthoff, who was an advanced aerospace weapons programmer, these are the 4 main species of extraterrestrial life that have come here to Earth on multiple occasions and might still be here now. The first is the insectoids, which look a lot like a praying mantis, but a human-sized one. Then you got the greys, you know those tiny little skinny extraterrestrials with the big black eyes? Followed by the reptilians, which are well over 6 feet and basically look like a reptile, hence the word reptilian. Then come the Nordiques, that all look like they're from Sweden. So
So don't be surprised if this devil, cooks up something in order to further try to justify, or what's what I'm looking for, to try to make it appear that they were, telling the truth. And we know this devil has his Project Blue Beam. This devil cooking up things within these labs. There's no telling. Because, he has he's gene splicing, connecting DNA together, so, could come up with some stupid crap. You would come out with, we told you, this is what's within those vehicles. We have to see, but it's why you get within the scripts, Isaiah 33:6, that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability, of thy times. Because, Project Bluebeam is now heavily, talked about. People going into theories as to what they're going to use it for, talking about he's going to, fake a second coming of the Lord. So if you see a so-called white man come back and sees a boy there, then you obviously know what's up, Because we especially have the playbook. We have the script to this movie. So if something doesn't align with that script, we know, it doesn't add up. It doesn't align with what the scriptures say, especially what things the devil's going to do. That point dealing with things he does within these labs behind the scenes. Dealing with the gene splicing.
Puthoff, who has made this statement, isn't just spouting off. The things he's talking about, these 4 different types of extraterrestrials, are in the government's own documents. Yes, if you look through the disclosed UFO files, you'll see all 4 of these types of extraterrestrials mentioned. So is it true? Maybe. But a couple things are for sure. Number 1, Dr. Puthoff has said it and he believes it. The government has files on it, so they probably believe it. And all over the world, not just the United States, people have seen these things. So judge for yourself. Make up your own mind. And let...
We are not alone. The Pentagon released the UFO files a few weeks back, and we just found out over 1 billion people have visited the site. 1 billion. It's got to be a record. The War Department says more files will be released soon. UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside, shocking.
Do people think that there's one type of non-human intelligence that's visiting the Earth, or is there many, many types?
People who have been involved in recoveries have said...
There are at least 4 types, 4 separate types. Now, I have not had direct access to that, but I believe the people who I talked to...
4 different types of life.
Look at that devil, man. These people want to, believe everything, trust everything he says, but that's why you get within scripts. How this trust and this shadow of Egypt shall be your shame and confusion. It's going to come to bite you back in the behind. Especially for those Jakes that are within the military, you're getting ready to fight and go against our Lord. Because you always see within Independence Day and Battle of Los Angeles, especially dealing with that, is one particular scene where they're all watching the television, looking at what they're ready, looking at what they're getting ready to go against. Not knowing you're getting ready to go against our Lord. Yahweh Shai, the angels. Your brothers within the heavens. That's who you're getting ready to fight and go against. That's why they continue to try to form and push this narrative. There's green and grays. They're here to take our resources. They're here to do this. They're here to do that. They're evil. No, they're evil to you. Seeing these cherries, these so-called UFOs, is a great sign that this kingdom is coming to an end. that we're nearing our Lord Yahushua's return.
4 different types of life.
4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them Greys, Nordics, Insectoids.
You see this on the main
and reptilians.
media.
All of them have 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us. Experts speculate the reptilians are scaly with long tails like a lizard. Insectoids look like a praying mantis. The Greys look like your classic movie alien, and the Nordics look like a regular Swedish guy, but 7 feet tall. We haven't seen the evidence, but Pete Hegseth says more evidence is coming. And there are a lot of believers in Congress.
So once again, literal confusion. So look at this right here, Michael. So if aliens are so advanced, why do they keep crashing? See, once it doesn't make sense. No chariot of Yahweh Shai is going to crash. When this devil stands, no chance again. I mean, you can get that once throughout this. I'm going to get throughout this lesson. So listen, you devils going to be able to walk in the park for the Lord, man. You get within Scripture 2 Kings 13, where you have these chariots beaming people down, turn people to dust. You're going to have these armies falter in the eyes of Yahweh Shai. You know, for example, you have a scale and say it's equal on both sides, because with the chariots, how do I put that in words? Tip the scale. And brought the point, done with that immense power gap. There's a gap in power. You devils don't stand a chance whatsoever. You heathen nations don't stand a chance whatsoever. You also get with the scriptures how they're going to try to, come together, come that for humanity type of spirit to try to go against our Lord. As you always see within these movies, Battle of Los Angeles, Independence Day, and various other similar alien-like movies. But this is not your movie, this is Yahweh Shai's movie, and you are set to fail. You lose. You lose.
Well, I don't know what the fuck going on in Greenville, North Carolina, but boy, it's like a UFO in the sky, bro. Look at all this. It's like look at all this. It's like around in a circle, like it's a UFO or some shit.
Can I see right there?
That shit is crazy.
But once again, have people in the comments trying to make excuses. I guarantee they're going to push that it's casino lights. It's lights being pointed up in the sky. Let me look. That's why I also brought up that point. It says, fallen angels. Guys, please don't fall for this. They're not aliens. Well, you're right. They're not aliens. But they're neither fallen angels. There's no such thing as so-called fallen angels. Nowhere in the scriptures. That right there's chariot. But you get the point. Let's get to these scriptures. I do want to try to finish this with my phone. It cuts off Luke 21:11, and it says, and great earthquakes shall be diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. So would it not be likened to fearful sights and great signs? It's dealing with these chariots, these so-called UFOs. Let's get a GNT translation. Let's see. It says there will be terrible earthquakes, famines, and plagues everywhere. So, end time signs. And you've seen these chariots are especially part of it. It says there will be strange and terrifying things coming from the sky. And you have this devil trying to push and promote confusion in regards to what they are, to what you are seeing. This is why you get within scriptures not to be trusted. Jeremiah 10:2 says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the times of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. There's one that should be shook and afraid and terrified of these things. Put his phone in the charger. Let's get the NLT. Actually, I want to get GNT. That's what I mainly get. Just jump straight to the point. It says, do not be disturbed by unusual sights in the sky, even though other nations are terrified. So they're the ones that should be shook and afraid of these things. But those in his faith and his truth should be a faith booster. Psalm 5:2 says, when they see it, they should be troubled with terrible fear. They're going to be shook. They're going to be afraid. Now, just you wait until these chariots get closer to the ground, become a lot more visible, to the naked eye. Where you can actually see, the outline and, what it looks like. A lot of videos you see today is, kind of blurry, and that's also, a form of technology, for lack of better words, these cherries use, or however they do it. And they also made that point on one of the files where they will kind of, disturb, phones and, cameras. That's why you see, these cliche videos where someone tries to record the chariots. It doesn't end up working out. They're not able to see it. Revelation 12:7-8 says, and there was a war in heaven, which is not speaking of the spiritual realm, where you have the spiritual Satan going against them, Father, angels picking sides. It's not what you're going to do. You're going to have a literal war in the sky. As you also know, this devil's kingdom, his heaven, his rulership. As heaven also wants to represent in the sky. Try to go back. There we go. Press look up. Let's see. Part 3 says, usually the heavens, it says the skies of the atmosphere, the stratosphere, the firmament, the vault of heaven, the blue, the wide, blue yonder. It's pretty much done with the sky. It's also why it's important to have that discernment as to, know what these scriptures are speaking of, what it's going into. Because a lot of people will take it as, literal. And you especially see with a lot of, other scriptures, people butcher. But as Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, that dragon representing Esau, Edom, is the military might. And that dragon fought and his angels, still those troops. Verse 8, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. So those devils can be taken out of power, dethroned. You can further get to other scriptures. Those Satan, falling as lightning from heaven. Going to this devil being taken out of power, being dethroned. Coming from this highest state, which is his kingdom, his heaven, and coming crashing down to the lowest part, the dust, which is in Isaiah 47:1. It will come sit in the dust, O first daughter of Babylon. Psalm 2:1 says, why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? This is a vain thing that you can take out a chariot of Yahweh by Shemal Shai. He says, why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? Creating an air force, or not air force, a space force, Let's see, I believe they call it the Guardian Space Force. Let's see. I believe they called it the Guardian. Or something like that. But you get the idea. Got 2 more scriptures. The point of Ecclesiastes 12:10 says, never trust an enemy, for like his iron rusts, so is his wickedness. So once he's not to be trusted in any case, especially when it comes to things like this. So this devil has, spent billions, spent trillions of dollars into these telescopes, these various things to try to observe, to try to study the chariots of the Lord, and yet you see all the videos that they come out and give you. This is just, footage that is not as compelling. It's not clear. Because they don't want to, tell you the truth of things. Matter of fact, there's videos of them saying that the information that they could come out with will pretty much shake the masses. These people bug out over these things that they would see. And they're talking about releasing more files. So we have to see what else they will, pull out with what they release. This is Psalm 55:21. It says, the words of mouth were smooth as butter, but war was in his heart. His words were soft and yet were they drawn swords. Get into the translation. Pretty much going to the devil having a silver tongue. His words were smooth and cream, but there was hatred in his heart. His words were as soothing as oil, but they cut like sharp swords. So once he's not to be trusted, natural and liars. You also in Psalm 58. But that's the point. Just want to make somewhat of a quick lesson dealing with that. Because one of the points I was making, in my lessons, dealing with the confusion this devil's going to mix, into these files and information they're going to come out with. in order to leave people questioning and to leave it up in the air as to what they are, what you're seeing, you know. Everyone close out. Give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashmel Shabbat Shemaka Dash, and Shalom. See you next one. Lord's will.